Hi, I'm Bobby McCumber and welcome to VU Open Day. We have an exciting panel here with us today with some of our industry-leading courses in the sport and exercise science. Joining me from the College of Sport and Exercise Science, I have Michael Clayton, Manager Industry, Community and Sport Engagement. Welcome, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. Great to be here.
We also have Fabio Serpiello, Postgraduate Convener. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Bobby.
And we have Shana Spittle, who is the Director for Teaching and Learning. Thank you, Shana.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. We'll start with you, Shana. Now, as Director of Teaching and Learning in the College of Sport and Exercise Science, why is VU such a leader within this industry?
I would say VU is such a leader in the industry due to the range of courses that we offer within sport and exercise science. We have sport and exercise science, we have physical education, we have sport management, and we have outdoor education leadership. So we actually cover a really wide range of areas within sport and exercise science, and I think that makes us industry leaders.
Now, Fabio, your job title is Postgraduate Convener. What does that mean?
Basically, I'm in charge of advancing our postgraduate offering in the college. So I work very closely with Shana as a Director of Teaching and Learning and with Michael for all the marketing matters for the college. And we're trying to get our postgraduate offering to be bigger and better.
Can you tell us, following on from Shana's answer, some of the opportunities that we have for postgraduate studies here studying at VU?
At the moment, we have three main areas. We have a clinical exercise and rehabilitation master's, which is our largest degree. We have a sports science discipline. We have a Master of Sports Science football performance and some graduate certificates. And we have our sport business and integrity area with a master's degree and a few graduate certificates and graduate diplomas. So we really have quite a vast array of offering.
So some pretty wholesome offerings for students across the board, which is wonderful. Now, Shana, VU is very well known for its $68 million high-performance testing facility. Can you tell us a little bit about that facility and any other facilities that we have here for VU students?
Sure. We're very proud of our $68 million testing facility, and it's used widely by students within our programs or course offerings, as well as students who undertake research with it at Victoria University. So some of the key features in that building that we make use of on a regular basis include our Biomechanics Laboratory, our Physiology Laboratory, and we're very happy to say that we have an altitude hotel, which is used in our high performance research. We also have our students make use of a range of other facilities at Victoria University that include our weights teaching gym spaces, as well as we have interactive classrooms which enable group work and other collaborative learning spaces.
Sounds like there's quite a lot going on there. So we have actually got Emily Bodie, who is at the Biomechanics Lab, and she's going to take us inside and give us a little bit of a tour and show us what we have on offer here at VU.
Thanks, Bobby. I'm here in the Biomechanics Lab at our Footscray Park campus, and we've got Shannon Barnes with us. Shannon, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Emily. It's good to be here.
Now, this is an amazing facility that students have access to. Tell us a bit about what happens in the Biomechanics Lab.
Yeah, so you guys are currently standing in the largest biomech lab in the Southern Hemisphere. So we get to work with sporting partners and clinical populations, being able to hopefully improve their performance and reduce the risks of injury.
There's plenty of tech around us. Tell us a bit about what it all does.
Yeah, so the cameras that you can see surrounding us at the moment, if you've ever seen like an animation movie, so like your Shrek or Avatar, these cameras will pick up silver balls that are placed on a person's body, and from that we're able to reproduce someone's skeleton and hopefully look at their movement and analyse.
Amazing. So our students have access to this lab and so do our industry partners. Tell us a bit about who gets to use it.
Yeah, so our students get to use these facilities across each year of their degree. So they'll be able to come in and use the force plate. So these will measure forces that you're applying to the ground. And then as they progress through their degree, be able to come up to our 3D motion capture systems. And our partners get to come in. So for example, the Western Bulldogs will come in and use this space during their pre-season or any injuries that may occur throughout the season as well. And also clinical populations from hospitals in the local area. They'll come in, especially after surgeries and things, and we'll have a look at their analysis and their movement in those ways as well.
So VU does a lot of research in the sporting field. Tell us about some of the research projects that go on in here.
Yeah, so we're currently working with a lot of junior tennis players. So looking at the rackets and how does that affect their ability to move the racket and their performance. We're currently doing some work with FIFA and looking at ball tracking and player tracking movements. Football in terms of kicking, so at the foot and the ball interaction specifically. And looking at gait movement, so especially with clinical populations, anyone with like a knee or hip replacement, how can we help them like with their mobility and getting them back to like their normal style of life?
Sounds super cool, but the Biomechanics Lab isn't the only amazing sporting facility we have here at VU. Tell us a little bit about what else is on offer.
Yeah, so we also have our exercise physiology labs, which have a altitude chamber and environmental chambers. So you can work at extreme heat or extreme cold, and as if you were to train up on the mountains and those sort of things as well. And you can also live in the altitude hotel, so you could sleep at altitude.
I hear there's Netflix in the altitude hotel as well, in case anyone gets bored.
There is Netflix and there's also an Xbox up there as well, so it is a bit of fun.
That sounds cool. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me, Shannon. It's back to you, Bobby.
Emily, that looks fantastic. Do the students realise how lucky they are to have a facility like this?
It's a fantastic facility.
It
It's
is.
really great that our students from a variety of courses, not just the postgraduate courses, but the undergrads actually get in there and get to use those labs.
Yeah, looks amazing. Michael, whilst we've got you, now VU has a well-known partnership with the Western Bulldogs. Doggies fan myself, so love it. Can you tell us a little bit about this partnership and some other industry partners that we have with VU?
Yeah, so the Western Bulldogs is one of over 200 partnerships and affiliations that the university has in the sports industry. And it's a really fantastic example of how students from a variety of courses get to interact with our partners. So if we look at the footy department to start with, we have students from our vocational massage courses who engage with the players and provide massage services for the players. At our undergraduate level in sports science and exercise science, we have students who work in data analytics, strength and conditioning and sports performance cadetships with the football department. And in our postgraduate studies, students are able to conduct studies in data analytics and sports performance, for instance, where they can help provide feedback to the football department about how the training's been implemented and the effects it's having, but also too can then inform it and in some cases suggest ways it can be adjusted to improve the performance. Outside the football department, we have our sports management students who work in sponsorships and memberships and other administration roles. And the Western Bulldogs also have a community foundation, and they do a lot of outreach programs into the Western region communities. So with culturally and linguistically diverse communities and with some populations that have poor health outcomes. So our students are able to engage in those programs and provide positive benefits for the community that will hopefully improve their health and well-being as a result of their love and passion for the Western Bulldogs. In addition to that partnership, we have a relatively new partnership with the Outdoor Education Group, which is the biggest provider of outdoor education experiences in secondary schools in Australia. And with them, we've put together a program where in the first year of the program, our students learn the skills and attributes that are required to enter employment in that industry, and we've embedded some of the professional standards that industry has into that first year. And then in their second and third years, they have the option to undertake an internship. So they actually get paid while they're studying at a 0.4 full-time position whilst they're studying. So they have the opportunity to learn, earn, and start living the lifestyle that they hope to have a career in. The final one I'll just mention is Marvel Stadium. And Marvel Stadium is an international award-winning stadium, and we're really fortunate that one of our ex-students manages the event management services there, and our students get an opportunity to have experiences with that stadium and the facility in planning and running those events and being there on event day to experience what it's like. And we actually have 3 or 4 students who are now employed in that department. So they're just some fantastic outcomes that our students have as a result of the partnerships we have.
That's it's nice that you mentioned this former students that are now working within the industry, which goes into my next question. The industry partners, how does that benefit students after they finish studying and going into employment?
Well, I think that there's sort of 4 main aspects to how these partnerships are benefiting our students. So the first one is because we have such a wide range of partnerships and they're quite deep partnerships, so they've been going for a long time. It allows us to gain a really good understanding of where industry sectors are growing and the opportunities for employment in those sectors, so that then we can look at our courses and go, we can move the focus of the course to those areas of growth and employment opportunity in the future. It also allows us to have a good understanding of what the skills and knowledge requirements are of industry, so we can develop the curriculum to meet those requirements in the future. So we're not giving people the skills of today, we're looking to the future and what skills they'll need in 2-3 years' time. The next aspect is, and I touched on this with the outdoor education group, is that our students have an opportunity to get their foot in the door and have priority access to some of these opportunities, whether they be volunteer, casual, part-time employment whilst they're studying. And then finally, students, because they're in these organisations, have a real great opportunity to showcase themselves and their talents and abilities to potential employers whilst they're still studying. And hopefully when a job comes up, they're in the door.
Exactly, like you mentioned, just a foot in the door. It's a nice little pathway, studying here at VU and then having these industry partners. Very beneficial. Sure. We've got some questions that have come from our open day attendees. So I'll give this first one to you, Shana. I'm in Year 10. What subjects should I consider in Year 11? And what are the entry requirements for VU sports degrees?
So the entry requirements for VU sport degrees are a study score of 25 in English. And that's the only entry requirement that we actually have on our courses, with the exception of our Bachelor of Exercise Science Sport Practice, which does have an ATAR that ranges between 62 and 68. My advice would be to do the subjects that you really, really enjoy, so that you can enjoy your last years of school and really develop skills in studying and
I've got another one for you whilst I've got you. Shana, what are my next steps if I don't gain entry into a sport degree?
The great thing about VU and our sport programs is that most of our courses share a common first year. So my advice would be apply for a lot of our courses. You may not get the one you like, but because the courses share a common first year, it's actually really easy to transfer over. So if you are really interested in completing our sport practice degree, which does have an ATAR, if you were to be successful and get into our sports science degree, they share what we call a common first year. So the units are the same. At the end of first year, you then have the opportunity to apply for a transfer, and that may allow you to get into the course that you actually really wanted to do. What we're looking for is to see that you can be successful in a tertiary environment. If you were unsuccessful in getting into any of our degree courses, we do have other options with regard to our polytechnic that you could look at and explore, and they provide pathways into some of our undergraduate degree programs.
Michael, I've got a question here for you. You touched on it a little bit before, but someone's asked, do I have an opportunity to do a placement with the Western Bulldogs if I study at VU?
Yeah, well, you do have the opportunity to do a placement with the Western Bulldogs, of course, but understandably, there are limited opportunities. So if you're thinking about that's what your heart is really set on, if you really apply yourself to your studies and study well and do well and get good results, then the opportunity will be there for you to do that. The beauty of having such a wide range of partnerships is that we have partnerships with other high-performance sports organisations like the Melbourne Victory Football Club as well. And we, at different times, have had a range of 10 to 20 students working with them in student placement. So you may have your heart set on the Western Bulldogs. Hopefully you can get that opportunity, but if not, there's quite a wide variety of other opportunities for students here at VU.
Plenty of different sporting organisations and industry partners that we can work with. I've got a question here for you, Fabio. What is VU's connection with Real Madrid?
Oh, that's a good one. We do have a very exciting relationship with Real Madrid. In particular, we have a relationship with Real Madrid Graduate School. And so every year, our master's students in sport business and integrity and sports science, they're very lucky to be able to go on a study tour to Real Madrid. And we complete 2 units in a burst mode for both courses, and we get to experience behind the scene access to staff of the club, and also we invite some guest lecturers from different parts of the world. So we have cutting edge content delivered by real industry experts in one of the top sporting clubs, I guess, in the world, not just for football, but one of the the best sporting clubs. And also you're in Madrid, which doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So you go on these trips, one of the perks of your
yeah,
job?
I'm fortunate enough to have to lead the study tour. So yeah, I don't complain about it.
No, you wouldn't. That's wonderful. Shana, I've got another question here for you. What is the difference between the Bachelor of Exercise Science sport practice and the Bachelor of Exercise Science clinical practice?
So both of these are our accredited undergraduate degrees, and they're accredited with ESSA, Exercise and Sport Science Australia. The simplest way to explain the difference between them is that it has to do with the populations that you'll be working with. Clinical practice refers to working with a clinical population, and the sport practice refers to working with a sport population. So if you're interested in working in sport, whether that be at a community level, a club level, a professional level, then sport practice is the most appropriate course for you to choose. If you're interested in working with clinical populations, so for example, those who are rehabilitating from an injury or from a car accident or something of that nature, then the clinical exercise is the most appropriate course for you. The clinical exercise also leads on to our Masters of Rehabilitation. So it is the stepping stone to that postgraduate degree.
The VU block model, now, can you tell us about how the block model gives our students an advantage in their studies here at VU?
Yeah, one of the great advantages of the block model is the fact that students study one subject at a time, which really allows them to put a lot of time and effort into focusing on one subject. And that's, we've found from student feedback, really made a difference in terms of their ability to be successful with their studies. The block model also provides great flexibility in terms of when students can enter or choose to take a break from a course. So the block model gives us a number of different entry points across the year. So we have an entry point at the beginning of the year. We also have one at 1B3, which is sort of in our April, May, and then we have a mid-year entry. So we've got 3 different points in which students can actually start a course at VU. The block model also allows students to take a break. So with a 12-week model, if you want to have some time off, you're stopping yourself or you're putting on pause 4 units. With the block model, you can choose to take a period of time off, for example, 4 weeks, and you're only pausing one subject. The block model also allows students to accelerate their course. We have 10 offerings throughout the year, so students can choose to do more than the traditional 8 subjects within a standard year.
It's been quite a change for our university, but one that's been very positive, obviously, with the statistics and that of passing and the marks. Fabio, I'll finish with this question for you. What makes our degrees different from other universities?
Good question to finish off with. I've thought about it plenty of time. The most obvious is what Shana just referred to, is the block model. It is unique and it has revolutionised undergraduate degrees in Australia. I can only provide my perspective. I've studied and worked in 3 different countries, and so when I've come to VU for the first time, I've seen a great engagement with the industry. That's by far the best thing here. You do get a sense in undergraduate and postgraduate degrees that the industry is at arm's reach, so you can get a foot in the door. Our staff are great. I guess every university says that, but working in this environment, you do realise that most of our staff are really passionate about what they do, and they're very approachable, which makes the learning experience really, really good. And the last one is our facilities. They're so good that when you step foot into the campus, you do get a sense that you're in a pretty special place.
Thank you very much for all of your time here today, sharing your experiences. I hope you guys at home have got a big insight into the College of Sport and Exercise Science, not just learning through the block model and our teachers, but also the amazing facilities that we have here as well. So thanks very much for watching at home, and we wish you all the best in your future studies at VU.